Pre-season testing, where drivers turn lap after lap around the CAHOS circuit in Bahrain ahead of the new season to hone in their new machinery and give fans a sneak preview of what we can expect. So what can we expect? I would say Stroll binning it is a cause for concern, but if anything, it's reassuring that everything is right in the Formula 1 world. The new cars are proving to be a bit of a handful, which on the surface is exciting because it might actually open things up for some entertaining racing. But when you have a huge chunk of the grid struggling for grip, it creates an issue, unless your name is Max Verstappen. One of the key things that has been noted so far has been the steep downshifts needed to get into turn 1 in first gear, which can then often kick out the rear end as a result, which is naturally something Max revels in. But if his old teammates have struggled with a particularly twitchy car, I feel as though Isaac Hadjar might be facing an uphill battle. Teething problems are bound to happen, but the fun doesn't stop at the new handling characteristics. The batteries. They suck. Imagine if CAHOS was renamed to KEDS and stood for Kinetic Energy Dispensing System, and that's basically what we seem to have. The battery is rapidly draining energy in a lot of circumstances, failing to give drivers full power over a whole lap, and then at the same time, not charging quickly enough to get them back to full again. As a result, a lot of drivers are having to compensate to build up energy, either downshifting at the speed of sound or coasting for chunks of the lap to build enough energy for hot laps. I personally can't wait for qualifying to become a glorified driver's parade before every hot lap begins. But if that wasn't worrying enough, at the end of a session last week we saw 7 cars take the grid for a practice start. Franco Colapinto nearly binned it before even reaching the grid, and then when the 5 lights did go out, go! Go! The lights are out, guys. Okay. Some people are predicting the cars need up to 10 seconds to get enough battery power to launch, but in reality, cars at the back of the grid should be okay, as they can just arrive and get going without much depletion. At the front, drivers now have to work out how to hold the engine revs without cooking the turbo, as well as syncing up the battery so that there isn't a disconnect that leads to, well, this. It's not as bad as it looks, as teams use these sessions to mess around with trying to work out the best method to balance the depleting battery and hold enough engine revs without causing more issues. And of course it did mean we got this very tremendous office-worthy moment.
Ferrari, who don't have to rev the car for as long. Let's have a look.
Unfortunately, in the era we live in, overreactions are aplenty. I remember the days being at school refreshing Formula1.com to check in on Heikki Kovalainen to see if he'd crashed a Renault and ruin my entire day. Testing is exactly that, and everything should be taken with a pinch of salt. Are Mercedes sandbagging, a Red Bull downplaying their speed, a McLaren doing the same? Nobody knows, but everyone wants to act like they do. All we can do for now is put on the coverage and enjoy some ASMR to fall asleep to before the practice starts begin, and then it sounds like you're in a war zone, but you get the point. And as an Alpine fan, I can temporarily enjoy seeing Colapinto in the top 10 before I suffer through another year of Q1 purgatory. And with the second week of testing now upon us, there are bound to be plenty of more talking points between now and the end of the week. The question really is, are we in for an absolute thriller of a season because the cars suck, or is this just simply a case of big regulation changes and everyone trying to get used to it? There's only one way to find out, and that's to check out my most recent video. It's completely unrelated, but you might enjoy it. And until next time, I'll see you on the racetrack.